What's up guys, JJ with Thrivestry. We're going to talk about deficit deadlifts. Our next strength focus is going to have a lot of deficit deadlifts in there, so I wanted to go over some of the basics. So for most people when they do the deadlift, the hardest part is getting it off the ground. So you'll see this when people keep adding weight, and maybe they're able to rep a weight out. Maybe they pull it up easy, or they can even rep it out for 2 or 3 reps. And then you add 2.5, so you add 5 total pounds, and it's like, and then the bar is stable to the floor, right? So they're having trouble breaking it off, getting that initial pull. For a lot of those people, it has to do with mobility and the ability to get into the very bottom of the deadlift position while still maintaining integrity and all where they're supposed to be. And it's hard for them to create tension throughout the body that they need to get the bar going. So one of the ways that we can solve that problem is with deficit deadlifts. And what we're going to do is basically have people stand on some sort of elevated platform. So you can see I've got a 15-pound bumper. I've flipped it over so that the part that's kind of more indented is down, and then I'm standing on the flatter part, so it's a little uneven, a little less uneven for my feet. Right? So I'm going to come here. This plate here is about inch and 3/4, and that's pretty good. Anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches is going to be fine for most people. But I'm going to take my normal setup position. I'm going to brace through the belly. I'm going to reach down. And then one of the key points here I want to point out, especially if you just came off of something like a squat clean focus or a clean focus like we just did, is that remember the clean, the hips are low, the deadlift, the hips are high. So we want to make sure we're really hammering this into people. We're deadlifting now, so let's get our hips high when we deadlift. So I'm bracing, I'm reaching down. I want that bar right up against the shins, and then we're coming up, boom, like that. And now drop, or maybe lower to the knee and then drop. We're not worried about lowering the weights. We're doing lots of singles with dropping. I want everyone practicing picking the bar up from a dead stop. That's why it's called a deadlift. Previously known as a health lift, but because it's supposed to be from a dead stop, so we want to see the drops. There also tends to be, it gets a little bit sketchy for people as they go all the way down to the deficit as they lower. There's a potential for injury there, so we want to mitigate that risk by just having people drop. Now you'll see the 15-pound plate works pretty good. You'll see I've got a steel 45-pound plate here, which is also great, a little bit more stable. But about the same thickness. And then next to that, I've got a 25-pound plate. So taking a look at that, that's about 2.5, right? But the cavity here is a little bit bigger, so it's going to be a little bit more awkward with the feet in the standing. Now, I prefer not using plates. I prefer to use plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, cut into 24 by 24 inch squares, which you can use for different box depth, or you can put on top of plates to make sure you have a uniform surface to stand on. That's we're going to be picking that up for our next cycle. We don't have any here at this gym yet, but that's what I prefer. But again, the deficit deadlift, the point is that we want to make sure that we're still maintaining good positioning and starting at a much lower position, so that when we go back to the regular deadlift, that starting position is going to feel a lot more comfortable. One added thing. What if somebody can't do a regular deadlift properly because of mobility or range of motion issues? It's the same thing. Deficit is a relative term. So one solution would be to have them pull from some kind of blocks, right? So this should be something that you're doing typically with people who have real mobility restrictions. I've seen it significantly with cyclists, people who tend to be in that hunched over position and they're pedaling and they're never getting full hip extension. When they deadlift, they tend to automatically go back to that position and they can't seem to get down to the position. So now we can have them do the deadlift from a raised bar, but instead of continuing at this height and adding weight as a progression, what I would do is get them to a height and a load that's significant so they can feel the strength benefit from training. But then as we go from 5 singles, 7 singles, 9 singles, I would then stay at the same weight but go lower. 5s, 7s, 9s, go lower until they're to the floor, right at that load, safely. That's it guys, deficit deadlift, have fun.